they are at 9, 12,
right.
and
I'm
12.
supposed to be recording this.
So, in case you guys haven't seen my Constellation Zero Dory showcase or you're not familiar with her ICDs, normally at Constellation Zero, her elemental skill only applies Electro once, and then her elemental burst applies Electro 4 times. However, we're going to apply Dendro onto it. Now, her elemental skill applies Electro twice. As we can see, it procced Quicken, then it procced Aggravate. And let's just add Dendro again really quick. And her basic attacks now also activate Aggravate. As we can see, in that N3 string, we managed to activate 2 entire Aggravates. So at Constellation Zero, in a typical rotation, Dory would be applying Electro 6 times with 2 elemental skills as well as 1 elemental burst, 4 times on her elemental burst.
Thankfully, we don't need an ammo.
Now at Constellation 6, which I'll do a quick showcase of how much damage she does with the Dendro Traveler's Burst up. Is a lot more aggravates. Like, a significant amount more. Look at all those aggravates. So basically, we've pretty much gone from just using 2 elemental skills and her elemental burst for 6 aggravates in Constellation Zero to using roughly 3 of her elemental skills as well as 3 N3C combos plus her elemental burst. Each elemental skill plus N3 combo applies aggravate 4 times, so that is 12 plus 4, so 16 aggravates in comparison to at Constellation Zero, where she was only doing 6 aggravates.
Oh, that's a thing.
So the team that I'm going to be showcasing next is a more kind of maximize Dory's damage in the short-term team. We have a Constellation 4 Tighnari, which adds 120 Elemental Mastery along with the Elegy for the End, which adds another 200 Elemental Mastery for a total of 320 Elemental Mastery just from Tighnari alone. So he will be our Dendro applicator. His talents or whatever, because we're just using him as support. Kazuha, Kazuha, you guys know him. I don't think I need to explain. Constellation 2, 200 Elemental Mastery, and Freedom Soren for the 20-ish percent, for the 32% increased normal and charge attack damage. And last but not least, we have Sara with the Skyward Heart, as well as the 4-piece instructors to add another nice amount of 120 elemental mastery. And Tighnari's using the 4-piece Noblesse Blind.
I need Yanfei, but I've been using Ganyu and Yanfei a lot.
Sara's elemental skill is
lots of Lewa characters, which is why I made a team.
Attack buff.
Devoid of it.
Alright, so the rotation is something like this. We are going to first apply Electro for our Primogeovich friend. Obviously get the swirl with Kazuha. Then proc, aggravate, as well as the, whatchamacallit. And we're doing, a reasonable, non-negligible amount of damage right now.
Stars, shine for me.
30 to 40 damage slashes near the end. I think at the very start of the rotation, it wasn't doing more damage. I wasn't paying attention to how much damage it's doing, but hey, that kind of counts as like a mini 1 cycle because we didn't have to use a second rotation of Elemental Burst against the Primogeovich. Let's go ahead and next give this a try against our favorite angry new Burb friend, who I do enjoy harassing. So yeah, we're going to try to get it very upset at us. I'm going to try to actually apply Electro onto the bird with Sara's Burst first.
I just
so
remembered.
this way.
Okay, goodbye.
And I'm not sure what happened there, but Dory's damage was a little bit lacking. And now we run into the problem. Yeah, so I did not do that rotation properly, but we can still see that it was still able to, I guess, 1 cycle our angry Burb friend so far. Let's go ahead and try this Dory out in the overworld as well, just to see how she does against some trash mobs for fun. Now, of course, in the overworld, we obviously deal with a lot of the monsters here are a lot weaker than Abyss 12, so we are going to go take a look at how she does in Abyss 12 as well. Let's go ahead and just only apply Dendro and Aggravate to just see how she feels. 14,000 slashes, and sometimes though, the Electro Infusion ends before she can even get out her N3. And as you can tell, it's quite cumbersome to say the least to use her because her elemental skill throws her backwards, and you obviously want to move forward with her claymore attacks. Alright, so we're going to use N1 into a charge attack. Okay, so we can see that the third hit on her charge attack applied aggravate, but the first one didn't. And we can also see that we only managed to squeeze out a few attacks. Yeah, that's the thing, is that her Electro Infusion is very short. Right? But, I mean, to be fair, it does like a slightly reasonable amount of damage. There we go. Look at that double aggravate with her elemental skill. Alright. So one problem with using Kazuha is that, yeah, that just happens, and obviously Dory's not going to be able to get an attack off. But as we can see, with this build and the amount of investment in the Red Hornstone Thresher, she is funnily able to carry her weight in the overworld. Let's go ahead and take her to, I guess, the endgame content of Genshin Impact Abyss 12, and we're going to see how it feels to complete Abyss 12 with a Constellation 6 Dory. So yes, 12.1.1, a bunch of RNG in terms of how these robots end up behaving. You want them to meander towards you, both at the beginning as well as after the beginning. In particular, it's the second rotation that matters a lot. Well, not rotation, but second attack cycle, that you really want them to stay together. Dang, Dory can't even squeeze in a charge attack after an N2. I messed up that a little bit because I did whatchamacallit. So, do we have Electro on it? We do. And oh dear, it's flying away. As we can see, Dory's melee range definitely not helpful when it comes to hitting things like the robot as it's flying away. But you know what? What was that? 51 seconds? Yeah, that's 51 seconds. That's better than I honestly expected. So I'll see you guys in 12.2.1 next. Alright, we are in 12.2.1. And we're going to open up this chamber by tossing Dory's lamp over there. That way we can swirl Electro and pull them all together like this. And this is where did the Sin Mage go? She went back to where she started. That's great. But I think luckily for us, we managed to actually get the Sin Mage. So we're gonna pull her towards us again. Yeah, that's the thing about 12.2.1 is that even though, like, yeah, we complete it quickly, it's all about Kazuha just grouping them because they're not going to stay still for Dory to slap them with her basic attacks, right? Anyway, I'm going to fill up my energy for 12.3.1 because really, these chambers with these grunts, these humanoid enemies are all about just the animal character that ends up messing them up. Alright, so we're going to open this up with a Dory.
Something on your mind again?
Electro,
Let's work through it.
Kazuha, Holdy into his elemental burst. And then we're going to do all this, just the usual rotation for this team. And sadly, the Big Bishop guy managed to escape us for a sec. And, follow this up with a Kazuha burst. I don't even think it had Dendro on it. Very unfortunate. Yeah, I've been having a lot of trouble keeping a Dendro on this guy. Alright, so let's pull the green one towards the blue one, and then we can pull this other one. Hopefully we can catch all three here. And look at that. again, Kazuha does so much of the heavy lifting in that team. You know, Constellation 6, all the swirl damage. It's definitely a very Kazuha favorite chamber. But to complete it in 68 seconds is perfectly admirable. I mean, yeah, that's a reasonable performance. So I also have a new showcase to show you guys with this aggravated Dori as well as the Tighnari team. And basically Dori is doing, you know, like 92,000 damage with her N1. She did, I think, over 100,000 damage with just her elemental skill, 50,000 damage rate. Now, of course, for a Constellation 6 character, this isn't like too impressive given, you know, what Constellation 6 characters can pull off. But for Dori, who I don't think many of us really viewed her to be even a good DPS character, to do this in a nuke situation, I'm pretty impressed by it. I think it's pretty funny to see, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to use her in this
content. Ratio still good.
So yeah, that wraps up this Constellation 6 Dori showcase video. I actually think she's not horrible because she's able to apply Electro a total of 16 times, assuming you are willing to keep her on the field for a bit through her, you know, N3C combos or N3 combos. And yeah, going from a character that can barely apply any Electro only 6 times in Constitution 0 to a character that can apply Electro around 16 times definitely makes a big difference for our favorite pint-sized genie. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Want to Lose, signing out.
Dang it. Want more EM. ER, I mean. Anyone else I wanted to switch around? I guess I can keep this for now.
Hello and welcome to my channel, I Want to Lose Gaming. So today, our goal is to create the absolute worst team that I can think of in Genshin Impact. And we're gonna actually see how absolutely terrible or, you know, how usable that team might end up becoming. So how are we going to do this? Do I have a process, a tried and true scientific method based on my opinion? So again, this is not going to be a definitive, like, hey, this is the absolute worst team, but really my first attempt at trying to make the worst possible team in Genshin Impact. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we need a full team of four, so let's talk about what the criteria are.
I see everything.
We will actually gear those characters to the T with my account and all the crazy stuff that I have on my account. We're going to see if we can, you know,
Here's the
just
gun.
kill things.
What?
And after that, see if we can clear this entire list with that team.
Dang it, I forgot the
One,
skill.
I actually
Put in
think
the
that
field.
to make a team really bad, you need absolutely no way for them to defend themselves. No shield, no healing, and even though, you know, there are probably some shielders and healers that I consider
night
as
is
some of the worst
cold.
characters in the game,
What?
they will likely be avoided
This
due
makes
to
me
the
look-
actual utility and safety that they provide. You want every hit that you take to feel impactful and to
Cool.
actually
Mine to
be
command.
consequential.
My
So I
guiding
think
star.
we can already
Hey.
nominate Amber to our team. Because, you know, the Amber tier is named after Amber. And you're this recent tier list that this is mostly
Feels
just
like-
as a reminder to me as the worst characters I think are the worst characters in the game. Now, one option that we actually do have is Aloy. However, Amber and Aloy together can actually function as a reasonable melt core, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. That sounds a little too functional, even though it sounds terrible, but it sounds a little more functional than I'd like. However, let's keep going through the list and see what terrible characters we have as an option. Now, we also have the Traveler, and we absolutely cannot use Anemo Traveler because that would actually make this team a little bit better thanks to just how powerful Viridescent Veneer Shred is, and we don't want any of the grouping at all, like no grouping at all. We have Razor as well. Now, Razor, our good boy, he actually does, enough damage, I think, to comfortably kill things, so I'm not the biggest fan of having Razor as an option.
Oh, what the
Now,
heck is...
another option is Lisa. Now, Lisa is highly dysfunctional, without another Electro character in her team. Oh, I know. Who to add?
I see.
We need to add Goro. Goro is not bad. In fact, Goro is an S or even SS tier character depending on what team he is in. But without another Geo character, what are you doing with Goro on your team? Oh wait, but Goro's Constellation 4 actually heals. So that is a big problem. So, oh man, this is harder than I thought. Initially I thought Goro, but I think we gotta kick him out. We gotta kick him to the curb. He's too good. He's too good to be on this team. This is actually harder than I thought to build an incredibly dysfunctional team. My goodness, is this really the worst team that I can come up with? I think this is close to
AN2
the worst
Cryo
team
Resonance
that
is
I can personally
good.
come up with right now. And funnily enough, this team name, Her actually really fits what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to build these characters, and I'm not trying to build them to be the worst possible. I'm going to try to build them to be the best possible that they can be. Alright, so here are the character builds that I ended up settling with. Now, I am actually recording their builds after I made the entire rest of the videos because I realized I didn't have a good clip for their build. So, yeah, here they are. Anyway, Amber has a lot of energy recharge for the weapon. She has the Elegy for the end. And for her artifact, she has the Noblesse Oblige. Constellations and talents are as so. Aloy I built to be kind of a melter, reverse melter. Now I believe at one point I had her on the 4-piece Blizzard Destroyer near the beginning of the video, but right now I switched her over eventually, especially for the Abyss run, into the Aqua Simulacra for her to be a reverse melter. And now for the artifacts, 2-piece Wondrous Troop, 2-piece Blizzard Destroyer, just to kind of maximize it now. Sadly, her talents are pretty bad, only has 667. And then we have
I don't
Kaya.
want to talk about the Inazuma.
Kaya, I have him with some pretty wild crit stats because the Primordial J Cutter offers 1 million crit stats. And then we have the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fates with a decent amount of energy recharge, decent amount of attack percent. And Kaya, Constellation 6, his talents are pretty well leveled as well. And next we have Lisa. Lisa has, pretty garbage stats right now, and she has a good amount of energy recharge. I have her on the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers to buff one of the characters, and she also has the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fates because outside of Noblesse or something, she's not really able to use artifacts properly to buff the team's damage, so I just decided, hey, we're just going to have her energy recharge actually, be pretty good with this artifact set. So yeah, those are the builds that I ended up settling for these characters. So this is the terrible rotation that I've come up with right now. We're going to open up with Lisa's Burst, switch to Kai to give him the Thrilling Tales buff, and I just realized that now we have... And now we do have Superconduct, and we also have Aloy's Rushing Ice ability.
Superconduct when there's no physical DPS.
But yeah, okay, so we're learning a little bit about this team. It feels absolutely terrible and completely dysfunctional. But we were still easily able to take out the Primo Judovish even on my first attempt. However, this team is already kind of beaten and bruised if you look at Lisa's health and Kaya taking some serious damage. Let's go ahead and try this team out against some random...
Do they want us to Hyper Bloom as well?
So look at this overpowered raid, right? Like, this is the buff, and Kaya is shredding with his Constellation 6. So I do have a video where I was just like trying to get Constellation 6 Kaya. Look at him go. I think Kaya is going to carry this team. That is a good lack of synergy that I'm pretty proud of for this team. You know, the
Electro
goal is to
damage,
make it that
EM,
team,
and
yeah,
ER.
it feels pretty bad. It feels pretty bad. Now, okay, Lisa.
I want to try Hyper Bloom Shinobu.
Like,
so,
10,000 damage
I guess
hits with her
I guess we can take this as proof that
certainly not completely.
Hoyo recognizes that Cookie is indeed a Hyper Bloom carrier.
Kill stuff with the elegy for the end. It really does go to show, like, relatively how easy this game is overall. Next, let's try the Perpetual Mechanical Ray. We're gonna give Lisa's buff to Kaya. We're gonna go for the. Oh, come on.
I'm gonna go for
pressed the ult, whatever. Right, but. Oh well. It is what it is. 39,000. First melt we're gonna get. Aloy's 80k melt. You know, I do say. It's a little bit better than I expected out of her. And, you know, as completely dysfunctional as the team is, it's doing just fine, right? Like it's doing fine. Now, this would be a completely different story with like free-to-play stuff, right? It's because of my obviously super whale-ness that this is even so viable. Wait. My goodness, I mean, Aloy is just outputting like 70, 80k nukes like it's nothing. I should actually build her to just be a melt nuker and then have Kaya be the on.
Yeah, that's kind of like the only playstyle viable for Aloy. I don't find it to be very fun though. 902 EM, holy crap. It's close enough to 1000.
Yeah, it's important to kill the ones on the side, in particular the shamans. The shaman ones.
I think Hyper Bloom would be more useful here. Quicken is just for disabling these guys.
Alright, I'm gonna try just spamming bursts. Maybe that's the way to go with this team. You know, if this is like taking forever.
I can go with the standard team.
Any of these things. That Cryo Shield Infusion thing from the center is a really big problem. And Amber's Pyro application is absolutely tragic. Oh boy, yeah, that Lava Troll is a big problem. And we haven't even taken out all the mages yet. Oh my goodness.
Standard Quicken team that I like to go for. Although alternatively, I could go with Pitching, because I just like pitching. Sure.
Really relying on the bursts for the iframes, because otherwise I'm dead meat. And why is it only doing like, what, 8,000 damage I think? Well, actually, yeah, that's a, oh, this thing probably resists cryo like crazy. And considering all my damage is coming from cryo right now, that is not good. Oh my goodness. So let's actually take this team to the second half where it is a little bit more reasonable. Now, that's a bit of a problem because I do not know how to deal with the Rune Serpent outside of killing it in one phase, but I guess we're gonna see.
Hell yeah.
So, okay, a non-negligible chunk of damage, although it's honestly pretty close to negligible. But hopefully now Kaya can finish the job.
This was the quickest I've ever managed to come up with a team.
There we go, I think that was a little smoother than the last time I tried. Let me get Lisa's burst up. Now, I don't know why. Ow. water, so this is going to be extra painful.
What you got?
Scatter! Ah!
As you wish, main.
Incoming! Cut to the chase! Ha! I swear by my sword! Ha! Speed of light! Ha! By royal decree! Propagate! Shadow Raven!
There's no
Incoming! With sword from Shadow! Scatter! Germinate! Go as one! Wind, hear me! Speed of light, nowhere to hide. Hey! Midnight Phantasmagoria! Propagate! Ha! Ah! With sword comes Shadow.
Another test.
Incoming! Odds revealed! I swear by my sword! Cut to the chase! Hey! Shadow Raven, let night fall! Ha! Ha! Germinate! Barbados, guide us! Speed of light! Ha! Good? By royal decree! Nowhere to hide. Incoming! Yeah! Go as one! Scatter!
Midnight Phantasmagoria.
Ah! Speed of light! Cut to the chase! Ah! Wind, hear me. Hey, nowhere to hide. Shadow Raven, scatter. Go as one. Incoming. Got luck. With sword comes Shadow.
Whoops. Alright, let's wait for this thing to reset. I forgot since I have Widzith on her, she really shouldn't be the first to come out.
Oh boy, what is it doing? What is it doing? Why does that hurt so much? What am I even supposed to do there? Okay, I'm supposed to run out of that sewer.
Things are about to get dicey. No!
Don't be scared. Stay put. Stand with me. Lightning Shuriken!
Gotcha. Quietly now.
Sharing my knowledge. Help!
Game's up. Fun's over.
Dissipate! Out of my way! Make yourselves at home. Uglay, you're up! Ah!
Gotcha. Things are about to get dicey.
The bond is strong. Stay put. Everyone hold hands. The Temple of Wisdom.
Quietly now. Game's up. Fun's over. Gotcha.
I'll settle this. Stand with me. Don't be scared. Ready, go! Sharing my knowledge. I see stars. Hey! Lightning Shuriken! Dissipate!
Here comes the catch.
Stay put! I see everything! The Temple of Wisdom! Hey, go away!
it's over.
Out of my way! Everyone hold hands! You're sharing my knowledge! Yeah! Grow!
Quietly now. Take it easy.
Stand with me! Yeah! I'll settle this! Hey!
Things are about to get dicey.
Stay put!
Well, that one was pretty fun, I suppose. Alright, I'm gonna go beat up some bosses now.
What'd they do this time? Let's jam!
I've been waiting for you for ages!
Alright, so who are like the bosses I want to fight again? Should go fight the Cryo or I just kind of punch? Why not? Alright, yeah, let's go.
Next time, be sure to make a proper appointment.
I don't want to use Yellen, I use her literally.
This is destiny.
Who else can I use, really? An all-purpose team, well, not all-purpose, just has just the right teams to beat all the bosses I want to beat up. I just realized. I want to get talent materials. For someone, didn't I?
Fireworks are for now, but friend.
I have 33 of those. 66 of these. Honestly, I actually have enough to at least get all of Kamisato Ayato gender bent. Well, apparently Friday is for Ganyu, and now that's
Or
kind of what
forever.
I want to do. Oh, I completely forgot about Rosario's
I hear you've got a job for me.
existence. Oops. You know, let me try Cola. It's been a while since I played as her.
Everything's ready. Let's go.
So how does this thing work? I still really don't know what stuff to put on Cole. Wow, this guy is outdated. Deepwood is probably her best in slot. She needs ER though. If I remember correctly, the boomerang gives lots of ER anyway. So around 150 would be nice to have. She doesn't really need EM since she doesn't usually proc anything herself to begin with. End of the line might be the best for her. Dang it. I wanna get rid of Sacrificial for Yelan. Oh, I can get... I can get Refinement 5 for that now, huh? I'll go with this for now. Sarah's gonna suck, but I barely use her nowadays anyway. Which is kinda sad, because I kinda like using her.
Dissipate!
What are the stats on you now? Still shit, but definitely usable now at least. First up, we have this MF. Oh no, wait, right, fuck, frick, frack. I'm not fighting bosses anymore, I'm getting talent levels for Ganyu. You know, I'll battle this guy at least. Actually, I have some condensed, I'm just gonna use those. I still don't have any crystal flies. The hypostases have backs.
bond is strong.
I forgot Kole is actually really nice to have when fighting this guy. Nice. Triple. Yankee's charge attacks don't have ICD, don't they?
It's a nice day, but I can't seem to shake this strange feeling. Let's just hope it's my imagination.
Please remember that when you
The criteria for certificate exams are straightforward enough. What it really comes down to is whether you are willing to put in the time. If you study and practice, then it's really not all that difficult.
Always remember happy day.
In the beta pre-release of Minecraft, Mojang will make a decision that would change the game forever. This was the update that introduced enchantments to the game. Enchantments added a healthy layer of complexity to the game. They were a unique way of differentiating two of the same rules from each other. There were simpler ones like the sharpness enchantment for swords and axes, which makes your swords and axes sharp, increasing their damage by half a heart per level. That's it. Then there were slightly more complex ones such as Silk Touch, causing some blocks to drop themselves as items rather than their usual drops when mined. Bookshelves, glass, ender chests, ice, and beehives for example. However, this came at the cost of making your tool mutually exclusive with Fortune to avoid exploits, I assume. Needless to say, the addition of enchantments was an absolute success and players were happy. But when there's variety, there's bound to be some that are better than others. Much like I've said in my video about Minecraft foods, having plenty of options is like having kids. You will always pick favorites. You're more likely to prefer smite and sharpness for your sword unless you had arachnophobia. Trident enchantments are cool, but I prefer loyalty above all else. While some enchantments rose to popularity because they were simply better than others, there was one enchantment that rose to the top for infamous controversial reasons. Before Swift Sneak in 1.19, before Soul Speed in 1.16, before every Trident enchantment in 1.13, our story begins in 1.9. This update reworked the entire combat system, a controversial change that requires a video of its own. But more importantly, this was the update that added mending to the game. Mojang may not have known at the time, but they've created a monster that would plague their game for many years to come. Welcome to episode 1 of Minecraft's most controversials. For this episode, we will be talking about mending, an enchantment that either ruined the game or made it better, depending on who you ask. Before we go into the goods and bads of mending to explore why it became such a controversial enchantment, here's a quick refresher on what it is and what it does. Mending is a treasure enchantment, meaning it is unobtainable from enchantment tables. You can only obtain them as books from jungle temples, stronghold libraries, ancient cities, as well as a rare drop from fishing. It can also be obtained as tools enchanted with mending from Etsy. In the simplest terms, mending allows you to use XP in order to repair your equipment. The more XP you get, the more durability gets restored. Now, if all of this sounds really freaking good, that's because it is. On the tier list of enchantments, no enchantments in the game will even come close to the level of mending.
Why would you not target anything with
let's
Harry?
compare mending to 3 other unique enchantments: Fire Aspect, Unbreaking, and Looting.
Out of my way!
I think these 3 is examples for specific reasons. Comparison against each of them would highlight the 3 main reasons why mending is quite literally in a league of its own. Let's start with Fire Aspect. Fire Aspect is one of my personal quality checks for enchantment, because it stands out as an enchantment for the wrong reasons. Enchanting your sword with Fire Aspect turns it into a double-edged sword. It is one of the OG enchantments added in beta periods, and has remained unchanged throughout all of Minecraft history. Fire Aspect made any sword or axe ignite their targets on fire, dealing an extra 3 to 7 hearts of fire damage on top of your usual attacks. Serving your cooked meat the way you preferred. Medium rare and below for the caveman, medium well for the refined, and well done for the cool with patience because they're tasteless. In Bedrock, Fire Aspect can also be used to light up candles, campfires, and TNT.
You can't run!
This even works with enchantment bows. But when I say enchanting Fire Aspect makes things a double-edged sword, I mean it. Unless you have fire resistance, Fire Aspect makes your enemies take 3 to 7 hearts of damage extra. But it also makes them deal 3 to 7 extra to you. Mending doesn't have any downsides. Unlike Fire Aspect, Mending is all reward, no risk. There is a little trade-off in that half of your XP is used for repairs, but it is a tremendously less dangerous risk compared to being barbecued alive. What's more important is that XP usually isn't a problem for the casual player, and even less of a problem for psychopaths like me who kill everything they
I
see.
guess this team has problems
Therefore,
with the
mending in
mechanical
general
array.
is better, because you don't have to worry about any
Don't you
significant
need
risks or
shields,
downsides
though?
to having it on something.
What are my orders?
However, it
Like,
isn't
she's
the
still
only
the best for
enchantment in the
this.
durability side of things, which brings us to Unbreaking. Mending's much older cousin that's been in his world for much longer than Mending has, but eventually grew apart from when they started sharing conspiracy theories on WhatsApp. Sorry, was that too specific? Basically, Unbreaking also
There are
helps with the
still so many
durability of
places for
equipment.
us to explore.
It turns shears from a fragile tool that breaks when you use it on anything harder than a marshmallow into a slightly less fragile tool that breaks on anything harder than 4 marshmallows. Instead of a guaranteed repair on XP like Mending, Unbreaking adds RNG into the mix. On average, each level of Unbreaking adds an extra
So,
100
what's the
to
deal?
300% of a tool's durability, doubling to quadrupling its use. This meant that Unbreaking was only better than Mending in tools that are super fragile and commonly don't receive XP in their uses, like Flint and Steel, Shears. Yeah, that's about it. Mending is a godsend for unlucky people because it was a guaranteed fix with no random chance, making it better than Unbreaking in almost every way and a much better enchantment overall. This leads us to our final comparison, Looting. Looting is also a super strong enchantment, so strong in fact that enchantment XP costs are noticeably higher whenever it is involved. It helps you with super important drops such as Ender Pearls, Blaze Rods, 朋友是一个坚韧无拔的 Tridents, and Wither Skeleton Skulls. Nothing is more frustrating than fighting mobs for hours on end only to not get the resources you need because RNG hates you. Looting increases the maximum for common drops by 1 per level. A zombie will drop 0 to 2 rotten flesh, but with a looting tree sword, they drop 0 to 5. With equipment and other rare drops increasing by 1% per level. TLDR, looting strong, looting good, booga booga, me use looting, me get more food, me happy. But despite all of this, looting will never be on the same level as Mending. Because unlike Mending, looting is exclusive to swords and axes. Mending will always be above strong enchantments such as looting and fortune, because just like Unbreaking, Mending could be applied to everything. It's like having a battle between a super strong sniper rifle that is super accurate but it can only shoot scarecrows, versus a nuke that's also, like, super accurate. Not the best analogy, but you get the point. So Mending is really cool, so in fact it is arguably the best enchantment. Why is it controversial? But these comparisons are valid to the first controversial point of view. It's controversial. Is overpowered is one of which enchantment you add mending to first and which later. You simply can never have enough of it. There's no such thing as too many mending books. It's simply so good that you just can't ignore it. To give you a sense as to how broken mending is, in 1.11, 2 updates after the addition of mending, Mojang will make Infinity and mending mutually exclusive on bows. That's right, Mojang quickly discovered that giving players an infinite durability, infinite arrow bow was bad. It won't even surprise me if mending could be used to fix things other than your equipment. 6 out of 9 marriage counselors recommend mending to fix your broken marriage. The other 3 play Terraria. In summary, controversial point 1
Let's
was
go.
that mending
Time is
super
against us.
versatile and most slightly overpowered. Players unanimously agree that it is one of the best enchantments, with people calling it indispensable, the most
You know what? I'm gonna use
valuable,
Hyper
as well as
Bloom
the
for
best
this
and
Don't
most
tell me
vital
they did it
enchantment
again.
in the
This
game.
domain.
Some players felt that mending broke the immersion of
I've been
Minecraft.
waiting
It
for
makes
you
them
for
attached to a
ages.
single tool. For them, making tools, using them to get resources until they break, and then replacing those tools with said resources was part
I'll
of the
ensure
fun.
your safety.
Mending discouraged exploration and collecting resources required to make the equipment. Mending ironically made Minecraft less mining and less crafting. Which makes sense. If I had a pickaxe and I were to enchant it with mending, this pickaxe will most likely last me throughout my entire survival world. And I would do my absolute hardest to make sure it never goes below 1 durability so I can repair it later. The game simply had to be centered around mending or be affected by it. But some would argue that mending actually made the game more fun to play. Rather than turning Minecraft into a Korean
I want to
MMORPG
help.
where you'll be spending more time grinding than actually playing the game, it made Minecraft the sandbox that it is. With mending on your tools, you had the time and freedom to do whatever you wanted. In a sense, mending allows you to skip the parts of the game you have to do and lets you do the parts of the game you want to do. Mending is an essential quality of life enchantment for mid to late gameplay that define how the player approach projects and builds. Which also makes sense. If I hate strip mining for diamond or featured, mending allowed me to skip getting the resources needed to get the equipment and allow me to do whatever I want. And then spending my time raiding and conquering villages. Have I ever mentioned how much I love tormenting villagers in my videos here? I like enslaving their entire
Temple of
populations for
Wisdom.
cheap labor while I melt the iron golem
Gotcha.
protectors into iron
Busted.
ingots which I sell back to the villagers at the least.
Game's up. Fun's over.
Stand with
While
me.
on the topic of villagers, these
I'll
arguments
settle
on
this.
both sides will be incomplete
Commit it
on
to
the
memory.
second point of
Yeah.
controversy. Mending service.
Stand clear.
It's arguably the
Absorption
best
test.
enchantment. So surely it has the rarity to limit such a broken creature to only
Stand
mid
clear.
and late game. It will only be found in the likes
I
of
see
treasure
everything.
chests and rare fishing drops since mending is a treasure and
Quietly now.
or at least it's supposed to be. What the hell is it doing in the hands of librarians?
Does Hyper Bloom not target?
Spoiling myself.
Who would win? A super rare enchantment book only found in ancient historical structures containing magical text that makes your tools unbreakable and infinite. Or Squidwards. A point of controversy is that mending could also be obtained through villager trading. Before 1.14, librarians existed but their trades were locked, so you basically hoped that they had the enchantment you wanted. In other words, your best bet was trapping 2 villagers in a breeder and having the freak out smart librarian babies. Eventually, one of them will give you mending, while the other librarians study history or some other failing degree, I don't know. Survival Explorer was kind of kept in check with its rarity. The easy way to obtain them was still extremely troublesome.
I'll just
Which is
go
why for
first.
some players, it is a point of worry that recent updates have made it easier and
I can
easier
try
to
Lisa.
obtain.
It's been a while since I used it.
1.14
I'll keep an
revoked
eye on
villager
you.
trading. By cycling workstations with a lectern, you will eventually get a librarian that will give you mending for a cheap price. This further reinforced the anti-mending viewpoint. With a viable, renewable method of obtaining mending, you were discouraged from exploring the world for resources. Mending was so good, there was practically no reason not to farm for it when it was this easy. You could just kidnap a few villagers, stay in your base forever, and never have any incentive to explore the outside world again unless you want to. Which leads us on to the third point of controversy. Is mending a
It
problem,
is as the
or is it a
stars
fix?
foretold.
To quote the user Zori Sable, which I hope I pronounced right, mending is a quality of life enchant. It doesn't make you any stronger in PvE or PvP, It doesn't have any effect on the actual difficulty of the game. All it realistically does is mean you spend less time grinding out gear. Personally, I remember the days before mending existed. I'm quite happy to not be spending as much of my Minecraft time grinding out yet
I
another
applied
fortune
for
pig as we
vacation.
did then. As a
You
purely
remember
quality
too,
of life
right?
enchant with no real impact on difficulty, it should be relatively easy to acquire and works just fine as it is. This highlights the third
Behold,
point. Is mending a
the
problem
Princess
that
and
greatly
Devil
affected
Talon.
Minecraft's gameplay, or is it a soft fix for an underlying problem? One could
Actually,
always
these can't
argue that
work
the
here.
root cause
God.
is the durability
Something's
mechanic of
come up.
Minecraft, and that removing mending would be ignoring the main underlying issue.
the
Durability
wind
turns the
lead.
game into an endless grind, forcing you into a cycle of obtaining resources for your tools, using the tools, then obtaining resources to replace said tools. Is it the fault of mending that players have flocked to it to avoid durability issues? Or is it the fault of the durability mechanic itself that drove players to mending? For comparison, let's take Breath of the Wild. It's a very niche game. You may have heard about it, but it's made by a very small indie company. In this game, every one of your weapons has limited durability and will break no matter what you do. In fact, this game has a much harsher durability system. There are no repairs or enchantments to help. However, there's the Master Sword. It's a completely unbreakable weapon, but it requires some time to regain its durability after
Make
use.
yourselves a
I'm sure
room.
you can draw a bit of a parallel between the Master
As
Sword
you
and
wish,
Mending.
Mainfront.
There's the argument that Breath of the Wild's
Nowhere
durability
to hide.
system encourages players to explore and find new weapons to replace the old ones that will break. But there's also the
I see
argument that the
everything.
durability is so fucking
Oh,
terrible
reveal-
that once players obtain the Master Sword, they begin
Barbados,
to use it
guide
for
us.
literally everything and save their
blink.
other
The
weapons for
sword
when
comes
they
shadow.
actually need it. Is the Master
What
Sword
the
too
hell?
strong
Incoming.
and too good, or does it
yeah,
highlight
geez,
an underlying
fire.
issue in the game's
Wow.
durability system? Maybe if things didn't
This
break
makes
so
me-
easily like a condom, people wouldn't have to
Speed
use
of
something
light.
that's literally unbreakable. Maybe if you, the viewer, didn't enjoy this video so much, you wouldn't have had to smash the like button. If the durability system of Minecraft wasn't so flawed,
I
would
picked
players
her
still be
because
using
her-
mending
her
as much as they do today? It's a fair
Swirl,
question
Electro,
with
and
no right
Rebus.
answer to
This
it.
is my
But there is a
typical
perfect
Tekken
example
team.
for this, and I want to show of
If I
hands.
don't have Raiden.
Has anyone actually used phantom membranes to repair your elytras? Or maybe explored other NCD ships just to replace the elytra
Holy
we
shit,
have?
I've been playing for over an hour
Most
now.
likely,
Oh my
you
god,
use
I'm such an idiot.
Maybe one or
I've
two
wasted
phantom
so
membrane
much time.
repairs. Case in point, because durability is a bitch. Mending was probably the cure to an issue that
Temple of Wisdom.
unfortunately had side effects of their own. This leads
Shadow
us to the
Raven.
final point of controversy. The controversial
Wind,
point 4
hear
is
me.
about the massive negative impact
Don't
mending
blink.
has had on diamonds as a resource. There are multiple factors that contributed to diamonds
By
losing
royal
their special.
decree.
I've mentioned plenty of them in my video about why diamonds
rest
earn
for the wicked.
special. But the major
To the
factor
chase.
that I forgot to mention was the mending enchantment.
Hey,
Unlike iron, where if you enchanted your iron tools with
Incoming.
mending, you still needed it for other recipes such as hoppers, pistons, and anvils. For gold, which... Wait, why the hell are you even enchanting your gold tools with mending? Point being, iron and gold had other recipes that mending could never touch. Mending didn't apply enchantments on your tools, anvils did. Mending can't receive XP and heal you as a player, golden apples and golden carrots do. Unfortunately, diamonds weren't as lucky. We used diamonds for diamond tools and enchantment tables. When mending was introduced, it removed any real reason you had to get diamonds from caves, since any tool with mending is almost guaranteed to last forever. A mending enchanted helmet is a permanent 5 diamonds you would never need. And if you had a full set of mending tools, you no longer need diamonds at all. You don't need diamonds to replace your tools because you can't replace something that is irreplaceable. Players felt like they never needed to go mine for diamonds anymore once they had mending, which once again further solidified the arguments on both sides. Less exploration, diamonds less special, anti-mending. More time for other things, diamonds are a means to do those other things, pro-mending. This also explains why mending is the most controversial amongst veteran players, myself included. As long-time fans of Minecraft playing through both pre-mending and post-mending eras, having experienced both sides is what makes a lot of us feel strongly about the enchantment. We've watched mending make diamonds fall from an absolutely legendary resource in its prime into a useless resource acting as currency in multiplayer servers today. Nostalgia plays a part, and I suppose for some long-time players, seeing something they used to look up to a very high status be reduced to money for capitalistic society you can kind of see why some people feel so strongly for or against mending. It's kinda sad, but understandable. But hey, that's just what players generally think
The
about mending.
work-life balance,
After
but
hearing these
I think
points,
this is
what are
pushing
your
it.
thoughts? Do you like them, or do you think Minecraft would have been better off without them? Do you think Mojang should nerf
I wanna
them
play
or
Lisa
leave them as
again.
is? Pro-mending or anti-mending? I personally think that mending was a good addition. Now don't get me wrong, all the reasons listed so far are fair concerns about mending being a controversial feature. But I see mending as something where the good outweigh the bad. I'm someone who really enjoys having projects to do.
Here,
I
let
like
me
having
help you.
automatic farms and I like having a little bit of a story in my survival worlds. But I definitely do see what they mean
As you
when they
wish.
say mending took away the explorative aspects of Minecraft. I didn't go outside and touch grass that often when I discovered how easy mending was to obtain. For every survival world I created, I found myself simply trading with villagers, stonking my way to get the diamond gear needed for the projects I wanted to do. To me, mending was an enchantment that fixed Minecraft by ironically breaking the game. And there is no bigger evidence for this than the undeniably negative impact they've had on diamonds as a resource. But it's important to note that mending isn't alone on this. I've mentioned that there were plenty of other factors that led to diamonds' downfall. Mending is just one of the many reasons as to why diamonds eventually stopped being special. Which is why you should check out this video where I cover everything else that contributed to making diamonds less special than it
Why
used
not?
to be. Dad,
This
why
guy's
don't
this guy's
diamonds
great.
feel
I need a bow user. Can't go wrong with Fischl.
Behold, the Prinzessin der Verurteilung.
For more quicken, but this is supposed to be for the overworld.
At the ready.
Although Hydro isn't bad either. I'd prefer if I had both Pyro and Hydro or Pyro and Cryo, but... Alright. I do want the Cryo. Man, I wanted to use Noelle. So I can get the stacks faster.
Let's jam!
What's happening? Trainee Forest Ranger Kale, reporting.
Oh, the wood is useless here. Fuck it. Pyro is
I will
all that
protect you. There are still so many places for us to explore.
But well, bows still are.
Outrider Amber, reporting.
What do I have on you again?
There used to be a milestone, a checkpoint of progress, playing an active role in beating the game as a whole, being the final requirement needed to enter the Nether. They were so iconic, like creepers and endermen, that removing diamonds would be like removing a part of what made Minecraft, Minecraft. In fact, you probably remember when you mined your first diamonds as one of the best experiences you've ever had because of how awesome it felt. And yet today, diamonds are either seen as a mediocre resource that you don't need to prioritize or a common resource that you have in fat stacks that it loses its value. So what happened? What has changed about Minecraft that made diamonds lose their legendary statuses? And which update specifically destroyed their reputation? Well, first of all, welcome back to the channel, my friends. And in today's video, we will be exploring the history of diamonds. How over the game's lifespan, diamonds went from a legendary resource that defined the game as a whole to being seen as a common occurrence not even worth mentioning today. To talk about the history of diamonds, you have to go way back in the history of Minecraft itself. Before Java Edition Beta and before Java Edition Alpha, diamonds will be added into the game in Java Edition In-Depth, which stands for In Development. They served as the ultimate resource, creating the most efficient, most durable swords, shovels, pickaxes, and axes, with other uses such as diamond hole and diamond armor being added over the next few days. Entering the alpha stages of development, diamonds will get another use as the crafting recipe for jukeboxes. This seemingly harmless addition to the game at first would turn into a catastrophic community-splitting scandalous controversy later down the line, in the form of Star. And in the Minecraft beta stages, the final crafting recipe of diamond will be added before the game will be released officially, the Enchanting Table. This brief history outlines what made diamonds very special to begin with. Diamonds were needed for high quality top tier equipment. They were a requirement in the recipe for the Enchanting Table, essentially locking enchantments behind a diamond paywall. They were added to the game as the absolute rarest resource, which further increased its value. In fact, I'm pretty sure even back then, diamond blocks were the most popular method of obnoxiously flexing at everyone about how disgustingly rich you were, and how absolutely tasteless you are in architectural design, because Jesus Christ, that is ugly. But this begs a lot of questions. All of these recipes sound familiar, don't they? Diamonds are still used for diamond tools and diamond armor. They're still used for jukeboxes and enchantment tables even today. Despite diamonds being used for the same purposes for a decade now, surely they're still better than other resources in terms of value, right? Well, let's compare diamonds to its two neighboring resources, iron and gold. Starting with good old trusty iron. Iron is a tier below diamond. If diamond tools were an A+ in an exam, iron tools were a solid B. They were good, but not great. Sufficient enough to get you through another day, but insufficient enough to stop my Asian parents from beating the shit out of me. Iron was added alongside diamonds in In-Depth 0.31. And yet, despite their lower efficiency when compared to diamonds, iron is seen as an extremely valuable resource today. What made their value skyrocket in recent times even though they were supposed to be the mid-tier resource? Well, let's go through each update to see what has changed about iron over the course of the game. In update 1.3.1, they would add tripwire hooks, which was a fairly alright addition, nothing too significant. In update 1.4, the spooky update, they added anvils. Anvils were absolutely game-changing to enchantments as a whole, along with the addition of enchantment books. They were so game-changing that anvils still remain as a frequently used block today. And this addition of anvils will be relevant again later in the video, so remember that. Moving on, the 1.5 Brimstone update was where things started to change drastically for iron. This update added activator rails, heavy-weighted pressure plates, but most importantly was the addition of hoppers as iron crafting recipes. To give you a sense as to how revolutionary this was to iron as a resource, try watching or building an automatic Minecraft farm today without hoppers and pistons. You can't. These additions skyrocketed iron as a resource. It became essential in any redstone project from 1.5 onwards. Later in the 1.8 update, they added iron trapdoors, which I just think they're neat. But everything changed once again with the arrival of 1.9, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in Minecraft history, the combat update. Iron would get another recipe in the form of shields.
Or is Gotcha
Shields
studying
trivialize
art
fights against
these
mobs and
days?
players alike. They made the player practically invulnerable to all forms of direct damage, whether it came from skeletons, creepers, or even other players. 1.14 Village and Pillage added blast furnaces, crossbows, stone cutters, and smithing tables. But most importantly was the addition of iron